Today on the Tuff Juice podcast, we had none other than one of my closest friends in the NBA, one of my best teammates, Dwyane Wade, future Hall of Famer, first ballot, and we talked about many things. Playing with the Los Angeles Lakers, why he did not send his retirement papers in, is he coming back? Could he play with them? I think he's exactly what they're missing. Stay tuned on this episode of the Tuff Juice podcast. And we also talked about him being a case study at the Harvard Business School. Shout out to Miss Anita for making that happen. How surreal is that for him to have that moment? And also his son Zaire following to his footsteps. And him being a father, how important fatherhood is to him. Subscribe to the Tuff Juice podcast on the Himalaya app or wherever you listen to your pods. Hey, you gotta talk to me about that beginning, what we was just talking about, like AAU and that whole process, and then what you were seeing also every day, just, in your everyday surroundings. What was that like?
AAU, I'm gonna tell you my Karate Butler AAU story.
Oh,
I don't know if I ever told you. So we're about to play y'all, and Larry Butler calls a team meeting in a hotel room where we play y'all, right? And he started giving us his story about Caron Butler's a man. He done been to jail.
Putting all my business out there.
He was putting all your business out there. Now I'm listening to this story, and it was rumors of where you went to jail. Everybody got their own stories. I ain't gonna say what he said, but it was scared the fuck out of me. I was like, wait, so he went to jail for that? And we about to play him tonight? So
he active?
So we go out there, right? We play you guys. And you got one of the deepest voices I ever heard in high school. And I think I bumped into you. You was like, hey, watch out, young fella. I was like, shit, yes, sir, Mr. Butler. I was scared as hell to foul you. Nah, Butler scared the hell out of us, man. But it was, AAU was fun. That was my only year. I played 1 year AAU.
That's it.
I played 1 year. And I remember Larry Butler came to my house and, asked me to join the Illinois Warriors. And I was like, listen, man, we don't have the money, for me to travel. You know what I mean? My family can't pay for hotels and flights and food and all those things. So as much as I would love to play, I can't, And then he came back a week later and he was like, hey, all I need you to do is bring some food, bring some money for food, on a trip. I did that maybe once every 3 trips or whatever. And but it was a great experience for me, to get out there and get exposure from colleges to play against some of the best players that I've never heard of. It ain't like today where you hear about all the guys socially.
Early.
I never heard of Caron Butler until that meeting when he was like, hey, he went to jail. I'm like, what? So it was a great experience for me, man, to get that,
Yeah. Talk about that. Was you heavily recruited?
No.
Off top?
No.
People always, because right now, especially in society, you see this instant success. And I always tell folks, I had Brittany on earlier, and I said it took me, in my eyes, 26 years to be an overnight success. So how long did it take you to, get rejected and then overcome and rejected again and overcome? What was that process like?
I mean, I don't even know if it was rejection more so than it just wasn't, no one looking at me.
Yeah.
I went to Harold L. Richards High School. And it was a small school. No one come to the south suburbs in Oakland, Illinois to find the next
whatever.
You know what I'm saying? So I never, I got a few letters from schools, but until I played AAU, I really didn't get no real love. So, but even after that, I was having trouble passing my ACT. And I felt like even schools that may have been interested in my basketball abilities was like, no, he ain't that good. Well, we about to deal with this. So I literally had Illinois State, I had Marquette, and I had Bradley, and DePaul was a little iffy. DePaul recruited me, I think, because I was a Chicago kid, and maybe they had to a little bit, but I didn't feel real to me. So I had 3.5 scholarship offers, and that was it.
So what was the teams again? DePaul,
half of DePaul. Illinois State, which Illinois State, the head coach, Tom Richardson, he was great. He was amazing. I actually thought I was going to Illinois State. Marquette, Tom Crean was the first-year coach at Marquette, coming from Michigan State, and Bradley, which I never took a visit to Bradley. They offered me. So that was it. That's all I had to pick from.
Yeah, I see. The reason I asked that is because when I look back at some of the basketball stories and the biggest what ifs, you just said you possibly could have went to Illinois State. That means somebody was really doing their due diligence on scouting talent and surveying the landscape of the land to be like, you know what, this dude could really be good one day.
Yeah.
Did you feel that?
Did I feel I could be good?
Did you always feel like you can play at a high level, or did you
Yeah.
just think you wasn't be like some, decent?
No, I always knew that I could. It was just the high school that I went to, it just wasn't that kind of high level competition. I dominated the competition that I played with, but that's all I had. You know what I mean? I didn't go to Whitney Young where we was able to play schools from all over. I went to a school in the south suburbs, and the reason I went because my brother was there. My brother was a star player, my older brother Demetrius, and I wanted to follow in his footsteps. I wasn't thinking about college necessarily, right? My dream was to play in the NBA, but you missed that college. I wasn't like, I want to go to, I love the Fab Five and I love Michigan. But for me, they was like an NBA team. You know what I mean? Already. So I was like, I would love to go to Michigan, but that's like I would love to go to NBA. It didn't feel real. College didn't feel real to me. So when I started getting recruited and I started understanding what that next level was about, I actually started getting a little more concerned my my junior year, because I was like, wait, hold on, I need to go there to get there.
Yeah.
Right? And
That's part of it.
It's a part of it. But when you're growing up in the hood, no one that wasn't a part of my vision. It was the Chicago Bulls was my vision. Michael Jordan, Scotty, that's what I want to do.
See the banners, doom, doom, doom,
Right.
doom, that's all you do.
No one will tell you about the process that takes. You know what I'm saying? And, I end up having some great coaches along the way to kind of help me open my eyes of that vision, of that journey. But I think at first when I just into high school, it was just like, man, everybody think they're gonna make it to the pros.
Yeah.
I was the same way. I'm like, I'll make it to the pros. How I'm gonna get there? I didn't know how I was gonna get there. I just knew I wanted to make it. I wanted to go to the pros.
Yeah. So when you end up going to Marquette, you end up sitting out.
I had to sit out my first year because I was academically ineligible. I didn't pass the ACT.
Okay.
And I tried like 3 or 4 times. It just wasn't my thing.
Yeah.
I couldn't even put scores together to make it work. You could take a score from this test and take it. It didn't even matter. You could put all of them together.
It wasn't
my thing. It wasn't my thing. So, and the cool thing about that, my brother had the same issue, and he went to junior college.
Okay.
So when I was going through that process and I was struggling to pass the ACT, Coach Crean was actually the only one to come in the house on a meeting and say, hey, we want you at Marquette, even if you don't pass the test. We want you to be a part of what we're doing. And that meant a lot to me, at that time, because I knew a lot of people probably wasn't looking at me because of my struggles with this test. So when he came in and said that, man, they kind of opened my eyes to immediately I was like, I know where I'm going. I'm going where I want it. You know what I'm saying? And it was easy. For me, it was an easy decision because I felt Marquette wanted me from day one. No matter whatever baggage I was coming with, they wanted me there. So it was an easy decision for me.
My experience was kind of similar to that. When I went to prep school, I had to take the SAT and the ACT. The ACT was more of a Midwest thing.
Yeah.
So I was taking it, and I did really high, and it didn't equate to what my GPA was, only because I had a low GPA because I was incarcerated for 18 months. Mm-hmm. So they literally had me come and take the test in front of a panel because they didn't believe I took that test.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. That makes sense, though.
And I got a higher score, but I was just like, dang, it's so crazy because they felt like somebody took that placement test for me. That is sick.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's next level.
But I've heard that story multiple times with kids that come from the inner city that, when, like I said, when I first went to school, you just going to school. I didn't have a plan hey, you need to do this, you need to do this, you need to do this to get there. I just was going to class.
Yeah.
And not, my friends not taking it serious. I'm not taking it serious. You know what I mean? I'm cool with C's. C's is passing to me.
Just getting by.
Right. Until it got to the point where my high school coach sat down with me my junior year. Was like, hey, what do you want to do? You know what I mean? And so my assistant coach actually in high school, his name was Gary Adams. Actually, one day after practice, he said, hey, I want you to come with me. And I was like, well, can we get some food? Because that's all I cared about was eating. We didn't have a lot. So I'm like, is there any food in this trip? Where we going? And he was like, yeah, we'll get something to eat. And we drove up to Marquette. Never heard of Marquette before. This was before they even started recruiting me. Drove up to Marquette. It was a Marquette versus Wisconsin game.
Oh, that's a big game.
Right? It was a big game. So I got a chance to be in there and feel that environment. And like looking around, I'm like, oh man, this is dope. Like this is right up the street from the crib. And that was my first initial like interaction with college sports. I never watched it like that. I never really knew a lot about it. And for me sitting there, I remember watching Cordell Henry and Brian Wardle and those guys down there. And I'm just like, dang. But they sucked though. Marquette, I think they had like 10 points at halftime. They sucked. But I was looking at that, you know what I mean? Like that was the first time that the vision became clear that this is like, I want to do this. And then when Marquette started recruiting me, it all started coming back that was my first experience to understand what college basketball was all about. You know?
What did you do in that downtime when you set out that year?
Did
you still travel?
No, I couldn't travel. So
couldn't travel.
When you academically ineligible, they call it a Prop 48.
Okay.
So I can practice with the team. I can eat with the team. I can do everything with the team. I can't travel, and I can't play in games. So home games was cool because I was able to be around the team, be in the locker room with the guys, be on the bench with the guys. But traveling sucked because we practice together, we do all this together, and then they get on the bus and they get on the plane and they leave, and I got to walk back to my dorm. You know what I mean? It was many days where I had tears in my eyes walking back to my dorm as my team was on the bus headed to the plane to go play, you know, in New Orleans to go, you know, go play Tulsa or Tulane or wherever they was going. It was like I didn't know. I'm a kid that was plucked out of the city of Chicago, and now I'm in this university where it's not a lot of black kids, unless they on the basketball team, and I don't know nobody really in the school, so I'm like alone. And it was a lot of times I was like, man, I'm ready to go. But then I started thinking like, well, where am I going? Like if I leave, where am I going? Where am I going? I'm going back to
Yeah.
So I really was stuck because it was like, you know, and it was tough. It was hard on me at the time. My mom wasn't around. You know, my mom was incarcerated. My dad was, you know, dealing with his own life, and I kind of felt alone. Like for the first time in my life, I really felt alone, and that started my journey to doing other things. You know what I mean? From the standpoint of I had a kid early. You know, I got married early. There's a lot of things that I did because, you know, I felt so alone that I wanted family around, and I created my own family at a very young age.
That's
deep. And I think a lot of it was because of, you know, that feeling of feeling alone.
Yeah. The new year is all about growth and change. Here on the Tuff Juice podcast, we always talk about evolving and being the best version of you. We had some unbelievable guests ranging from Master P, Sammy Jinx, Kerry Champion, Kristen Leahy, Jamel Hill, and so many more, where they talk about planting the right seeds, watching their harvest grow, pulling back the layers of functional growth. And if you're a business owner looking for your business, LinkedIn can help you find the right hires that can set you up for a strong year in numerous ways. And you're always trying to add assets to your brand and your organization. So this is a great platform to do that. LinkedIn Jobs screen candidates with hard and soft skills you're looking for, so you can hire the right person fast. Things like collaborations, creativity, adaptability. LinkedIn looks beyond the work skill and put your job post in front of qualified candidates who match your business requirements perfectly. That's how LinkedIn makes sure your job post is seen by the people that you want to hire. People with the skill and qualifications and other interests that will help your business grow. It's no wonder a person is hired every 8 seconds with LinkedIn. And while companies rated LinkedIn Jobs the #1 hiring platform delivering quality hires, find the right person for your business today with LinkedIn Jobs. You can pay what you want and get the first $50 off. Just visit linkedin.com/toughjuice. Again, that's linkedin.com/toughjuice to get your first $50 off your first post. Terms and conditions apply. So during that whole process, you had no mentors, nobody to lean on whatsoever?
Really, I had Coach Crean.
Coach Crean.
Coach Crean was big in that process. I had another guy, his name was Marty. You know, Marty was from the inner city. He coached the AU program in Wisconsin. And we got pretty close and pretty tight. But outside of that, like I really didn't, you know, like it wasn't like even like my AAU coach, like Larry Butler, we really wasn't, I wasn't a star player and I wasn't like a focal point So I always felt like even with LB, who I thought, we should have had a better relationship with, we didn't really have a great relationship, you know what I mean? Because once I went off, I kind of was forgotten about once I went to college and I wasn't playing.
Yeah.
I got forgotten about for a little while. And it was, like I said, it was just a lonely, dark place, and every time I was like, first of all, these classes, I'm going to theology.
What is that?
I'm like, like, come on, man, I'm going to theology. I don't know what the hell what's going on in here. I go to school and I'm like, man, I want to major in business. One day I want to be a businessman. And they was like, well, you got to take calculus. I was like, wait, hold on.
Okay,
hold on. I was in pre-algebra.
That's too much.
Too much. So think about it, man. Young kid out there, without his parents, really, just trying to figure life out. And the only thing I had to really make me feel confident was basketball, right? And basketball was taken from me because I couldn't pass a ACT test. So it was a dark time,
It was your therapy for years. So all of a sudden, fast forward, you get your opportunity to finally play. What was going through like your head, the emotions? What was you feeling at the time, and what was your expectations going into the season?
Well, a lot of people ask me the question about like when did I know I when did I know I could play in the NBA level, right? I think I really realized that after my first year, and I wasn't even playing yet. And the reason I thought I could is because I was dominating practices, right? I looked around and said, well, I'm better than, talent-wise, I'm more talented than anyone's here. And these guys are seniors or juniors or whatever. So I was like, man, I think I could play. I think I got a chance. And Coach Crean did a great job of every time a coach came in town to play the Bucks, they'd come over to our practice, he'd pull me to the side, have conversations with me about what it takes at that next level. Like, he did a good job of keeping me engaged. Already, because he's seen something in me as well. So the second year come, man, and I remember our team that year didn't make it to the tournament after my freshman year, and they got invited to the NIT. And I remember Coach having a meeting with the team, and he declined going to the NIT tournament. And I remember being so happy because that meant that season was over and now it was my time, right? It was my turn. And I was just a kid in the candy store, just waiting to get my opportunity to go out here and show everybody like what I'm made of and what I'm built of, right? And I remember my first preseason game, just being like nervous, of course, being excited. And I remember getting out there and I had like 30 points and, I was dunking and being excited. And like we didn't have a big fan base in Marquette at the time, but like the fans that was there was like, it was surprising that like this guy that they heard about for a year was really what they heard about, like that I was really that good. And it was my first game. And like once I walked away from that first preseason game and I had 30, I'm like, wait, hold on. Oh, I can do this. Like, this is what I do.
Yeah.
It's like I started feeling
I'm built
confident.
for this.
And it was just preseason.
Yeah.
But I needed that first game to make me feel like I belong, here. And then from there, man, I just kept going.
Yeah. Well, there's a special feeling. I know your mom was able to be released and finally attend one of the games.
Yeah.
What year was that for you?
That was my last year.
Your last year.
That was my second year playing was my junior year.
Yeah.
That was her first time getting a chance to meet Zaire.
Did you know she was coming?
I knew she was coming. We was
Okay.
trying to get her to come, but she just got out of jail probably, within a week of like one of my last games at Marquette before the NCAA tournament started. So we really was working. It was like conference championship, a big game. We really worked hard to get her to come, and her probation officer allowed her to, which I don't know if he had the right to or not, but his last name was Wade. I remember that. I remember like just how things worked out, and he allowed her to come and see me play.
How powerful was that for you?
Bro, I've never been that nervous in my life.
Yeah.
People gotta understand this. My mom, she really didn't get a chance to see me play basketball in person, really ever. She might have been able to come to one high school game. She never got a chance to come to see my college game, until that one game. So she never really seen me play and didn't really know how good I was. We wrote back and forth a lot, and I was telling her, like, Mom, like I'm pretty good.
Yeah.
But
Nice.
Right. I'm like, Mom, like they talking about the NBA. And so just having her there, I remember, coming back from shoot around and, my mom coming to the apartment that I had. And just her first time being able to meet her grandson, hug Zaire, love on Zaire. And, I just remember her being in the stands when that game. We was playing Cincinnati. It's a big game at home to win the conference championship, and I balled out.
Yeah.
And it felt great.
It was special.
Oh, it was special.
I remember I seen it on all the ESPN clips and everything, and I was just like, damn. I was like, he gonna be all right. Like, he on his way. Yeah. So now you got that momentum behind you, your family coming together, everything's happening for you in real time. And then you go to the Final Four, triple doubles, all that stuff. Was it difficult after being eliminated out of the NCAA tournament to make the decision to go pro?
No.
It wasn't tough.
Hell no.
Because you obviously you knew what the other side looked like, but like, did you know what you was leaving? Like, did you want to leave college, or did you enjoy the experience enough to be like, you know what, maybe one more year?
Well, I had one moment where I thought about coming back. After we lost in the Final Four, Coach made us stay and watch the finals. So we watched Syracuse play Texas. Wait, who did they play? No, Kansas. I'm sorry, Syracuse, Kansas. Carmelo Anthony's year that he won the championship. And we sat there and I'm watching the national championship, and I watched Melo and them win, and I'm like, dang, I want that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But that quickly left.
Immediately.
No, immediately. After my first year playing, I was actually going to enter the draft. The only reason I didn't enter the draft, I had to have knee surgery. I tore my meniscus throughout in the 10th game of my first year playing. And I played throughout the whole year, but I had to have surgery when the season was over. So that took me away from entering the draft, but I was going to do it then. And I remember this, dog. So now I'm feeling myself a little bit right around the school. Like, I can enter the draft, and I haven't had surgery yet, right? So I'm feeling myself, and the coaches still do what they do. They come and check out classes at 8 in the morning and all that, right? So one class, I show up about 30 seconds late. All the coaches there. When I get there, it's like 3 coaches waiting at the class. And they was like, marked it down as D-Wade was 30 seconds late for class. So once I get done with class, we get to the gym, and Crean ain't there. We get to the gym. This was after my first year. And we had to run. The whole team had to run because I was 30 seconds late for class.
Oh, damn.
So now, they running us, like, they're running the snot out of our nose. Like, we doing, that drill where you do like 13, 11.
Yeah.
So we doing that. I just stopped. Fuck this. I'm out of here. I'm going to NBA. I'm not dealing with this shit. Like, I was feeling myself, right? So I left, walked out. They called Coach Crean. Coach Crean flew back that night, got into Milwaukee about 2 in the morning. Came down, they knocked on my door. It was like, yo, Coach wants you at the office. I'm scared as hell. Right?
Wow.
Coach called. I got down in the office. Coach had that look on his face like he was ready to get in my ass. And we had an argument, screaming, yelling back and forth. It was like a point where I felt like I was growing up and I was a man now. You're not gonna tell me what I can and cannot do. But what he pretty much said out of all that was, you're not good enough to go to the next level. You're not ready. I ain't talking about just basketball, but mentally, you're not ready. You're still a kid. You know what I'm saying? Like, that next world will eat you up if you're not mentally prepared and ready for that next level. And what we talked about, he was like, but next year, if you have the year that I think you can have, and you a lottery pick, because you didn't come here to be late first round, you came here to be a lottery pick. If you're a lottery pick, then I'll shake your hand and I'll help you pack your bags. So my whole mindset was, I'm out of here. And it wasn't because my experience was bad. I had a wife, I had a son. You on that $200, you on that what, $110 every 2 weeks in college? It's not working for me. My son got to eat. Yeah. My wife got to eat.
Just get a Pell Grant.
Right. So I knew that I was leaving. I just didn't know how, or where I was, how people was gonna perceive me. But I knew no matter what, after that season, I had to go. Like, I needed to go make some money for my family.
Yeah. So fast forward to the draft process and the teams that was available in the top 10. I forget 5 on out. But when you're looking at it, what team did you think you was going to?
Chicago Bulls.
You thought you was going to Chicago?
I did. It was just like, it was the perfect storm.
It made the most sense.
It made the most sense. Unfortunately, Jay Will had just got into the accident.
Yeah.
And they was in need of a guard. It was my hometown. I had an amazing workout in Chicago. I had an amazing second workout in Chicago. All the talk was about them drafting me. So, they had the 7th pick. So I'm like, damn, I can go 7? Like, this is crazy. Like, I come from a small school and work my way up to the point where I'm like, I can go 7. This is bananas. So I go into the whole draft process, not knowing where I'm going, because they never said, hey, we picking you at 7. So I went in and the talk was, hey, Dwyane Wade can get picked 4th to Toronto, or he can get picked 20th. We don't really know. So I really had an uncertainty where I was going, but I did feel like Chicago they would draft me. So I was kind of sitting back, chilling, like 7th pick, I'm good.
Yeah.
And I felt like I knew what the first 4 picks was going to be. I knew LeBron was going 1. I knew Darko was going 2. I knew Melo was going 3. And felt like I knew Chris Bosh was going to go 4. So I felt like the draft started at the 5th pick. So after Chris Bosh went and we had the same age, I'm like, yeah, boy, see you in the back. I'll be there in a little while.
Yeah, here I come.
Here I come. I didn't think I was going right away. So my agent, Henry Thomas, come over after he leaves Chris' table and come to my table and sit right next to me. And I'm sitting there looking around like, all right, who going to the Miami at 5 though? And he was like, whispered in my ear, he said, hey, I just got a call from the Heat. They about to pick you at 5. I was like, my body everything just went numb. I'm like, what? And it happened. And my whole life changed. That handshake on, my whole life was different.
Do you think that was the best thing that probably happened to
100%.
you and for your career? Why?
Well, from a basketball standpoint, getting drafted to Miami, just the accountability that's in Miami. And it was very similar to what I've become used to in my life. My dad was my first coach. My high school coach was tough as nails. My college coach, Tom Crean, was tough as nails. So Pat Riley being the coach was just like, this is how it's supposed to be. But the Miami life wasn't good for me. I come from a small city in Chicago. I went to school in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And now I'm in this world of Miami where I've never seen nothing like this in my life. Right? I always say, I see people walking their dogs and they got outfits on. And I'm like, what the heck?
Shades and
Miami was so different, dog. And from off the court, I didn't know how to navigate myself.
No.
But on the court, it was perfect. It's a perfect storm for me because of the accountability of what Pat Riley has, set forward for the Miami Heat organization in period, So, yeah.
He always was the ultimate mentor for you, though, right?
Ralph?
I know y'all probably had bump heads or whatever, numerous occasions, but whatever the case may be, that's part of the love.
Yeah.
But just talk about the relationship with you and Pat Riley.
Yeah, man, I looked at Pat as a father figure.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? First of all, the man, he drafted me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Gave you that blessing.
He gave me that blessing. It changed my life.
Yeah.
And he, it's Pat Riley.
Yeah.
This is the GOAT.
Yeah, just the godfather of the game, man.
And he has so much knowledge, and he gave you so much of it. He was never selfish with his knowledge. And I spent a lot of time in his office because, one, he's seen something in me, very early that I would, I could become a game changer for this organization. I think he's seen it in me before I did. And he kind of gave me a lot of knowledge about this. So I my relationship with him was I love that guy. I don't tell a lot of dudes, a lot of men at that time, young, that I love him. But every time I left his office, I say I love you, because I felt like there's somebody who got me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He got me, and
100%.
even when I went through stuff in my personal life, I felt like they covered me, they got me, they held me down. So that was our relationship. Especially early on.
Yeah. Fast forward through all the years with the Miami Heat, you go to Chicago, spent a little tenure in Cleveland, back to Miami. That journey, what are some of the memorable moments in that process?
Well, I think what you remember most about, what you remember most about your NBA journey is, it's not what most people think it is.
Yeah.
Most people think it's the championships or the All-Star games, but what it is the relationships that you build along the way.
Real.
It's the conversations that you've had. It's the locker room experiences. It's the plane rides.
Yeah.
So, and I always talk about the people and the things that helped me become who you see today, and it's two people I talk about from my rookie years, you and LO, right? Just made a big impact on my life in two different ways. And a lot of things that I still carry today from our conversation. I'll never forget the first time you came and got me out my room to go eat dinner, and when you had to play Summer League because of me.
Yeah.
And you was pissed.
I was trying to sit out as much as possible, bro.
But they wanted us to get that. They wanted us to get that continuity.
Yeah.
And I remember you taking me to my first dinner and sitting down and giving me the game.
Yeah.
Giving me the game. Hey, this is what's going to make you a successful person in this league. And it wasn't about scoring and pass. It was about, these are the things you need to do in an organization. This is how you need to carry yourself. And I never forgot that. And I know not only did I do it, I passed that down to other people. Of this is how you should carry yourself. This is what my young vet told me.
Yeah, man.
So along this journey, man, so many people that became important and like big in your life decisions and how you decided to be that I thought about more than anything. Especially when I got traded back to Miami. When I got traded back there, it was like, okay, everything has now come full circle for me. This is where I needed to end my career. And that year I got traded back, I was ready for that to be it.
Yeah.
I was ready for that to be it for me.
So immediately when you went back to Miami, you was like, I'm going back here to retire, or someday I will retire?
It's nothing I thought about, it's just something I felt.
Yeah.
My last month and a month and a half in Cleveland was tough. I lost my agent, Henry Thomas, that was I never lost nobody this close to me before.
Yeah.
And I lost a piece of me, especially even my love of the game. That was something that we shared that was just like, I love of basketball. And at that moment when I lost Hank, I lost a piece of my love of the game. And I remember going back to Cleveland after that, and I didn't want to play basketball no more. I just didn't want to be there. And when I got traded back to Miami, it was like, and how everything happened to get that trade back to Miami. Like, I didn't speak to Riles until Hank's celebration of his life.
Yeah.
Hank and, Riles and the Heat guys came down, and we had a moment where we had a conversation. And mind you, we didn't have a conversation until that moment. So
wow.
I was still in my feelings. I'm sure he still felt the way. And I remember sitting there, my business manager telling me after the celebration of Hank's life was over, she was like, go talk to Riles. I'm like, man, I ain't talking to Riles. Fuck Riles.
Just like that.
No, for real. And I was over there like doing everything I can not to make eye contact with Riles. And lo and behold, I feel this hand on my shoulder, that Riles hand behind me. I turned around, and just that touch just made me like, I melted like a little kid again,
Hey, Pops.
What's up, man? Yeah. I melted, man. And, we had a great conversation. And what I really appreciate is them coming out to support, Hank. And I know that they have battles as an agent over the years. And that meant a lot to me. But shortly after that, when I went back to Cleveland, I was just there. And then I got a call. I remember getting a call, my phone ringing. It was, Leon Rose, who took over, to be my agent once, Hank was sick towards the end. I got a call from my agent on trade deadline. I've never got a call from my agent around trade deadline. My phone has never rung. Yeah. I never was worried about being traded.
Never been through that process.
Never been through that process. So when I seen my phone ring and I seen it was Leon, I was in the car headed to the arena because me and Brian had a little routine. We'd go eat before we get on the plane. We was about to go on a road trip. And I said to myself, I'm about to get traded to Miami.
You just knew it.
I just felt it. I felt like the storm was perfect. Like we like to say inside that was my agent's last deal. He put us in that room. That was his last deal. So once I got back to Miami, it was like, man, I'm back around my family. Really my kids and everybody. I was back around my Miami Heat family. And I just felt that peace for the first time in a while. I felt like this was it. This is where I needed to end this journey.
Hey, what's going on? It's your boy Caron Butler, host of the Tuff Juice podcast. And when I'm traveling all around the world and doing numerous shows on multiple platforms, whether it's national or regional, I got to always have my Sax underwear on. And I tell you what, it's all about being comfortable. And it's so important to be comfortable when you're on these platforms because, you're on the stage for probably 4 or 5 hours at a time. You may get a 10-minute break. And, when they get a little tight down there, man, it's uncomfortable. You know what I mean? So, Sax underwear, they're legit. They sent me a package about a month and a half ago. And it's the best experience I ever had, from a comfort level. And once you go Sax, you never go back. So because I enjoy the Sax underwear line so much, I've worked with Sax underwear on this great limited time deal just for you. Right now, you can save 10% and get free shipping on a pair of Sax just by going to my special URL, saxunderwear.com/toughjuice. That's all caps. Order a few pair of Sax now with this great offer. Go to saxxunderwear.com/toughjuice. That's SAXX with 2 X's. Remember, saxunderwear.com/toughjuice. That's all caps. Whether you're on the treadmill, whether you're on the elliptical, or whether you're just playing a little pickup at the gym, This ballpark pouch will have you feeling extremely comfortable, and I think that comfort is a huge part of fitness. So many times that you put on tights and these different equipments and inventions, and for numerous years I've always had situations where you had developed rashes or whatever the case may be. Once I slipped in my ballpark pouch, I never slipped out. Sax underwear, it's a must-have. How important was that? Did you want the farewell tour, or was it just something that just organically happened, like with the whole movement behind it? Because I saw the memorabilia, I saw it seemed like everything just came together perfectly, and now all players are in search and seeking that type of farewell tour.
Listen, I am not. Let me say this to camera. I am not that much of a narcissist to believe that I can go through and have a farewell tour. Like I am not. I don't believe that. I'm not that guy. For me, I wanted to retire after that year. My career started in Philly. My first game was against Iverson in Philly.
Yes.
My last game that year was in the playoffs versus Philly. I had a moment where I dribbled the ball out, and I remember thinking, this is how I was supposed to end it, where I started, right? It's over. A lot of people gave me reasons why I should come back. And I think ultimately for me, it was, you know what, a lot of guys don't get an opportunity to say, hey guys, this is it for me. The NBA kind of pushes you out. Your age pushes you out.
True.
So I felt the responsibility to do things for Iverson. Didn't get a chance to call us out. Shaq didn't get a chance to call us out. Tracy, like all these great players.
All-time greats.
All-time greats. Didn't get a chance to say, hey guys, like I'm gonna go through this last season, this is it. So because I had that opportunity to do that, I eventually said, you know what, I'm not just doing this for myself. I'm doing this for so many others that didn't get this chance. And it turned into something that I never thought would happen. I said join me for one last dance, but I really didn't know that it was gonna turn into like one last fucking long dance.
Yeah.
So I had no, and like you said, everything that happened, it just started happening organically. Only thing I wanted to accomplish in that last year is I didn't want to get hurt on my way out.
You wanted to be available.
I wanted to be able to play most nights. I wanted it to go through the experience of going and playing at East Arena the last time. I wanted to have, of course, I wanted to have fun. I wanted to pass some knowledge down to the next generation. And I wanted to do my jersey swaps.
That's deep.
And that's all I wanted to do, really. I just wanted to enjoy my last run. But it turned into just this, big celebration of my career, like every night. And it was overwhelming.
Yeah.
But I had a freedom in that year to just go out there and just, if I go 0 for 19 tonight, hey, I'm retiring. It doesn't matter, right? But if I get it in tonight and I score 35, I'm feeling good. So I didn't have no pressure on me. I just went out there and enjoyed it. And the fans made my last season one for the record books.
When did you start recognizing how large your platform was? Because I seen you I'll never forget you, Chris Paul, LeBron, Carmelo Anthony taking the stage at the ESPYs Awards. And you standing up there and you're talking about things that impactful in the community. And I was like, damn, that was deep. Like I felt that. You know what I mean? Not so that, me personally, I know you as a person. So I know that came from the heart. And I was just like, damn, like that was a deep moment right there. Did you know your impact globally at that time? Or was you still like?
Yeah, I did. At that time, I did. I think when I first realized my global impact was Trayvon Martin. Trayvon Martin, when at that time the big three was, we was the it in the world as a basketball team, and we took a stand. We had that picture where we put the hoodies up. And at that moment, just the reactions from that, the calls, the interviews, the this, the that, was like, oh wait, like you really have an impact. Your voice really do matter, especially in your community. You can really create change by using your platform. And I think until that moment, not a lot of athletes felt comfortable using their platform to talk about anything else but sports.
Yeah.
Right? And that, for me, is when it changed and when I realized that my voice was powerful.
That was major. When did you start going into the transition? Because when you're active, people tell you just to stick to basketball.
Yeah.
Now clearly, you know, our era and our wave are totally different.
Yeah.
Like where we're doing multiple things, we're creating business and having ownership and equity in companies. We're not just taking paychecks.
Right.
So now, when did that transition happen for you where you was like, okay, I'm doing this, but I'm gonna start preparing and getting that momentum for life after basketball?
It started for me in 2007 when I got my shoulder injury. You know, when I hurt myself.
You was in Houston?
I was in Houston.
I remember that.
And I remember after that, I had to get, at the end of that season, I ended up coming back and playing, but at the end of that season, I had to get shoulder and knee surgery. And at that moment, I was like, what if I do not come back to be the Dwyane Wade that people have now come accustomed after winning the finals and winning finals MVP, have now become accustomed to seeing? What if this is it for me? So I started thinking different about after basketball, because I realized at that moment that basketball was not going to be forever. It's something as simple as going for a steal, something I do every time, just threw my shoulder out of place. And now I may not ever be the same player again, right? So I started thinking different around that time. And I remember talking to my agent about, man, I need a team around me. I need people to kind of take some of my vision and bring things to me that I'm not even thinking of to help me create something bigger than like just this game of basketball. And I eventually built that, and I eventually got it when I moved on to CAA, and I built a team around me to kind of, you know, help me create, you know, Wade Inc., right? And so it started for me way earlier than, you know, most people would probably think.
Yeah, look, you're a hub of so many things, like, and we're gonna get into them. You know, you have your wine, you have your fashion stuff, you know, from the socks.
Yes, sir.
So many other things that you're doing, your shoes, everything. Like, are you just trying to be one-stop shop, or what are you creating right now? Like, you and your queen, man. Like, Gabrielle doing everything also. Like, what do you envision for Wade Inc. in collaboration with your wife? I mean, I know that is one entity, but what are you looking, what is your vision for that?
Yeah, man. I mean, I remember when I was in this process, I sorted out Magic Johnson. And I had a couple of meetings with Magic, and I was just trying to figure out what's the secret sauce, right? And I think the thing I took away from Magic was, hey, no idea is a bad idea. When you have a moment to yourself, think about what it is that you want to do. Write it down. When you write it down, send it over to the people that you pay good money to make it happen. And I started doing that. I remember I had this idea. I was like, man, you know what? I really love cool socks. I want to start my own sock company. Let me send it over to my team. They look at it like, oh, he crazy as hell.
Yeah.
I'm not about to start no sock company.
Socks
Socks wasn't popping.
Yeah.
And months later, Stan's Dwyane Wade relationship starts and goes from there. So I think for me, man, a lot of it has just been through my experiences and my journey through life. I'm learning myself. I'm learning what I love, what I want to do, what is my passion. And I'm building it just really authentically off of the things that I like to see and the things that I like to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, and along the way, you know, I've had opportunities that come to me of other brands and other things that kind of help all this keep growing. But for me, man, it's just about being authentic. And I think I'm trying to be that way just through this whole process. It's like I don't get behind things that I really don't know about and I don't believe in. And so everything that I try to get behind is what I use and what I do and who I am. And like wine. If anybody know me, I'm a laid back, chill, cool,
and it's smooth, right?
Drink wine kind of person, right? So it was just, for me, that was just another evolution into where I was going when I started that. I knew where my process was. I knew where I was going and what I was feeling. So that's just kind of how, you know, I think about it. And I just try to keep going from there.
What are some of the takeaways you learned going back to Harvard Business School?
Yeah, man, that first of all, it was amazing. Shout out to Anita, my professor at Harvard's Business School.
She is amazing.
Amazing. The reason I went there is because I needed to be inspired. I needed to think about business in a different way. I needed to be around people who thought differently. So if you ever in a course, in a class like that, you see how many people can look at one case study and how many people can come up with a different synopsis of this case study, right? So I needed to be in that kind of environment to start thinking about business different. And when we first came in, it was, hey, endorsement deal, You're the face of this, and you have an endorsement deal, and that's it.
Sell the product.
Sell the product. So now, as you know, when we on this next phase, it's about being owners, right?
Yeah.
It's about being owners of things. And so I needed to go to that to figure out how I was going to get to that point, how I was going to push my team to get to that point, and what I needed to do. So that class was so important for me, man. It was big for my development as a businessman of going forward and trying to make sure I'm always challenging us to be different and to be better and just think outside the box,
I remember going back myself after seeing you do the program, you, Chris Paul, some other guys, LL Cool J, and I ended up inserting myself in the program. Now, we got a handful of case studies. We got the one on Walt Disney, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, the 7 Cents production. We also got Shondaland. Shonda Rhimes was amazing. And then one of the case studies that came across my desk, Dwyane Wade. You are now a case study at the University of Harvard.
Yeah, man, that's crazy.
Like, how crazy is that,
crazy.
bro?
That's crazy, bro. Like, come on, man.
Like when you go there, it's like case study on Walt Disney, and you keep going in alphabetical order, you're gonna see Dwyane Wade. Like, what does that, like, that's deep,
some
bro.
things you just can't even really explain. You know what I'm saying? Like, I remember signing up for that class and like getting there and having my little dorm and getting all these case studies and like really like studying them, going through them. Never thought that I would be one of those case studies. You know what I mean?
That's crazy.
And I think Anita, she did a great job, and she's a big part of our brand now. When we have deals that come up, we have anything, we send it to Anita. Hey, look this over.
Check it out.
Check this out. Take it to the class. Give us a different way of thinking about this. But I never would have thought at that moment when I was in that class that I would be a case study at Harvard. You know what I'm saying? But what I do know is I went there because of Brandon Marshall. First of all, Brandon Marshall, good friend of mine, reached out to me and said, "Hey man, I know you into your business. I think this would be great for you." And by me going there and doing stories on it, it allowed others to see what this class was about and allow others to say, "Hey, I'm going to sign up and I want to do that." So I'm just proud that I was able to be one of the people that kind of help other guys come and sign up and hopefully take something away from the course. You know what I mean? So, but being a case study, dog, come on, man. I'm from Robbins, Illinois, from the south side of Chicago. How I got a case study at Harvard?
That's deep, bro.
You know?
That's major.
It's cool, man.
You have taken some time off, and I know that you inserted yourself front row in a clean outfit, may I add. Yeah, man, you was fresh. The Miami Heat came here to play the Los Angeles Lakers. And you're chilling and you're courtside and you're watching the game. And you said for the first time, like, I know that I don't miss the game.
Yeah.
Like, I don't miss it. Do you genuinely feel that way? Like, you do not miss the game of basketball from a playing standpoint? And now you're comfortable with making this transition into now having your show and doing what you're about to do with Turner?
100%, bro. First of all, I thought real long and hard about when it was time for me to when I was getting to the end of my career. I thought real long and hard about walking away.
Did you send your papers in yet?
No, I ain't sent them in yet. But
we're going to get to that. Keep going.
Hold on. Yeah. I ain't sent them in yet for other reasons. But it ain't about coming back to play. What I did want to see when the Heat came to town to play the Lakers was if I was going to get that edge. You know what I mean? Like, I can say all these things until I'm in that environment. I'm watching my former team play against my guy on the other side.
Your young fella almost, yeah.
So I'm sitting there, nothing.
Didn't miss it.
Like a fan.
The horn didn't go off and you was like,
nope. I didn't feel it. And I think I walked away from that game. I think that a lot of things that players think they're gonna miss along this way is they're gonna miss the 20,000 screaming their name. Right? They're gonna miss that fanfare. Obviously, they're gonna miss those checks. It's a lot of things that they're gonna miss about the game. But I think for me, what I will miss is the things I talked about. It's those conversations. It's those locker rooms, that airplane. But on the court, I feel like I really gave everything that I needed to give. Like, I gave my body to the game. And I accomplished everything that if they give you a sheet of paper when you get drafted and say, "Hey, what do you want to do in your career?" I would not have been able to put down as much as the things that I did accomplish. I wouldn't even thought that far to think that, I want to be an all-star 13 times. Or I want to be an NBA champion 3 times. Like I would have never, so I accomplished way more than I ever thought I would. And I was okay walking away. I didn't feel like I left anything.
Yeah.
You know?
You gave it all.
I gave it all and I did it all. So I was like, I didn't leave anything behind. So I'm good.
Bro, I totally agree with you. And I know that you gave it all. And in my eyes and universally, I think that you're the top 3 two guard ever to play the game of basketball. And that's a hell of a list to be on, a short list. And when I think of the game of basketball, 1, you cannot tell the story of basketball without mentioning you. And then 2, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant.
That dude.
And that dude I'm sitting next to right now. The top 3 two guards ever played the game of basketball. Like, it's just crazy. And I always tell people the game changer for me, and I watched it in real time, was when Stan Van Gundy, Pat Riley stepped down, Stan Van Gundy gave you the ball, and he put it in your hand, and he said, I'm going to put this kid in a pick and roll, and I felt like the rest was history. I really did. Like, I've never seen no one navigate in a pick and roll, like split a double team, attack a big that had slow feet running at him, or if you just wanted to put a quicker guard on him, he exposed them in many ways. You know what I mean? Like, it was just, I was watching it and I kept going home, and that's when, we had the next tail. I'd chirp everybody. And I was just like, boop. And they're like, yo, what up? I was like, dude, special. Dude. I was like, yo, you got to watch us this year. They're like, man, ain't nobody watching the Heat. Y'all suck, man. Y'all 0-7. Y'all already like, I'm like, he coming. And when he come, we're gonna rally behind him. Because we knew we had it. We knew we had something in you. So that has to make you feel special, man. Like, just to know that your imprint and your impact on the game of basketball.
Yeah, I mean, hearing you say it, it sounds great coming from you. First of all, I can't say those things, right? But, and I remember, man, I remember my rookie year, obviously coming into a team where record-wise it wasn't that good.
Ooh.
You guys had a tough year the year before, your rookie year.
You being modest.
Yeah, I'm being a little modest. But you got to understand this, too. Like, Lamar Odom comes in. It's LO. Karate Butler just come off of having an amazing rookie year. I mean, I'm talking about he get his 20, pop, 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 sit down. Y'all get beat by 30, but you get your 20 and sit down. So I'm coming in and I'm trying to find, we got Eddie Jones there, shooting guard as well. I'm coming in, I'm trying to figure out where do I fit? You know what I mean? Like, you don't want to come in as a rookie and step on any toes at all. I got these guys who I respect and these guys who are very good at this game. And I remember when you got hurt.
Yep.
You had to get knee surgery. That's when it changed for me because I had to now step up. You know what I'm saying? Like, at first, I didn't have to do much. I can let y'all kind of go get 20, Caron, Lamar, go get your 20. But then when you went down, I was like, oh, shit. Like, it's time for me to step up till my guy get back. Because I still wasn't like, this is my team.
Yeah.
I'm like, this LO and Caron and Eddie team. But along the way, I think the coaching staff, I think even my teammates start seeing something in me. And I start feeling that love and that support from my teammates, and everyone started pushing me forward a little bit. And I was like, wait, y'all want me to do it?
Yeah.
And it took me a little while to get comfortable with that. Like, even to Shaq, and then Shaq comes. So after I get comfortable on that team, now we get Shaq, and I'm like, well, back to the
back to the back seat.
Back to the back.
Like, no, stay Batman.
Yeah. So, for me, man, it was just really like a lot of my confidence came from the guys that I was with. I mean, I give a lot of the guys that I play with that don't even know, just that, I give them love and for me becoming the player that I did, not because I didn't have the talent, but getting that support. I mean, giving a coach like, man, Stan Van Gundy put the ball in my hand like, yo, it's on you, kid.
Take us there.
You know what I mean? And I messed up a lot of times. But just the fact that he trusted me enough, and like that, my confidence just kept going like this and like this and like this. And my teammates, I never seen like a hate from my teammates that I was taking that step forward. I always felt supported in Miami. So that made me even more confident, Yeah. So I appreciate you, as well. Like, as one of the veteran guys, man, to say the things that you said. Like, I start feeling that when people's like, yo, he's special.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I'm special? Well, I'm special then. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just started coming. as people would say things or as I would do things on the floor, and I'm like, dang, like, wait a minute, this is the league, and I'm doing that?
Yeah.
Okay, let me try this. Oh, I did that.
You was out there trying.
I'm just out there. He gave me the ball.
Yeah.
So, man, like, there's so many people that helped me get to that point, man, where I just was like, yo, I've arrived, and I'm one of the best in the game now. But it took me a little while to get there.
So now, being retired and having this time to create, because I felt like you was like an artist out there on the basketball court. You was just creating, and we were just watching something beautiful happen. And now you're an artist in the world again. You got a ton of free time. How does Dwyane Wade spend his free time?
Well, I don't even know if it's free. I think for me, man, every day I try to get up at 6. I remember thinking, like, when I retire, I'm not getting up till 11.
I ain't doing nothing. I'm chilling.
I'm chilling. I done worked hard.
We different, dog.
I get up at 6 a.m. every day. And I try to get, I try to get me a workout in to start my day. And then from there, I try to focus on, okay, how can I got to focus on family. So I got a 1-year-old daughter. All right, I got to make sure I spend time and make sure I'm there, before she take her naps. So for me, it's just like figuring out my kids' schedules, when I can be present, when I can support them, when my wife, how her schedule is, how can I be present, how can I support her? Oh, also too, I need to keep building my business. So I got to make sure I build my schedule to make sure I build my business. So right now, man, like, it was a fear that I had for about 0.2 seconds that when I retired, I didn't know what I was really going to do. And I had deals.
Yeah.
I had all these things, but I'm like, what am I going to do every day? What is the things that's going to get me out of bed every morning and make me hit the ground running like I used to do when it comes to the sport? I didn't know if I was going to have that. I haven't even had time to stop and breathe and think about or get nervous about the next phase, because the next phase came so fast. It's here.
Yeah. And
I jumped right into it, So I just put my head down right now, man. I'm just grinding, and I'm going to come up at about 50 and see where I'm at. I told my team I got 13 more years to just grind. By the time I get 50, I better be a boss, and I better be able to chill and pick my own schedule and get up at 11.
You own it heavy.
I'm going to grind.
And you always say, like, and I'm glad you brought that up, where you wrote the book and you said that father first, and everything is about family and spending time with your family. So what's the most important thing about, family to you? And, what is the biggest thing as far as your legacy that you want to leave?
Well, when it comes to family, man, I have 5 kids that I'm responsible for. And my job is to give them wings to fly, right? That's my job. My job is to give each and every one of them wings to feel like they can fly and they can be whatever they want to be in life and whoever they want to be in life. So I understand my position. I understand my job in their lives, and I fall short, of course, but I try to do that. I try to learn each and every one of my kids and learn how I can help them fly, on their own one day. And so I play a supporting active role in my wife's life. My job is to support her in any way that she needs me to support her, right? And at the same time, my job is to be a leader of my family too, right? So it's like I got all these different hats that I have to wear. And I'm not saying it is easy. It's days where I'm like,
yeah,
bruh, all this, but that's my legacy. My legacy ain't how many points I scored. My legacy is not how many deals I'm able to create, how much money we have when, my time is up. My legacy is, how much am I putting into my family? How much am I showing them that you are seen by me, that you can do this, that you can do that? How much am I putting them in the position to feel, to feel loved, to feel comforted, to feel wanted, to feel supported, by someone who's one of the most important people in their lives? That's my legacy. And that's the hardest job I have. And I'm trying to be the best I can at it,
As the patriarch of your family, why is it so important for you to protect the family energy or any energy that come at your family?
Well, I'm on the front line, man. And until they take over the family, this is my responsibility. I'm on the front line, and I let them know, first of all, just, even like Zaire's playing basketball, right? Automatically, he's following in the footsteps of his dad.
Yeah.
The pressures that comes with that.
Expectations.
The expectations that comes with that. the opportunity that comes with that. It's a lot of different things that come with it. But it's my job, as much as I can, to let Zaire feel comfortable just to be a kid. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's okay to be a kid and not have to be an NBA All-Star right now.
Yeah.
Or to not even be a basketball player, period. Like, my job is to let him know is that if we're going to play the game of basketball, this is the reason you're playing the game. You're not playing the game to live up to your dad expectations, to live up to the outside world expectations. You're playing the game because you're building habits. The game of basketball is going to show you how to be in life, right? It's going to show you how to be responsible. It's going to show you how to be on time. It's going to show you how to be a great teammate. The game of basketball, so while you're playing it, these are the things I want you to get out of it. If you become good at it, that's great. If you don't become good at it and you move on to something else, that's great. It doesn't matter from that standpoint. So it's important for me as a leader of my family is, and I'm still growing and I'm still learning. I'm not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but it's important for me that they understand and know from me, how they should be and what they and what they need to think about through this process. And I'll just use Zaire as an example because, he's playing the same sport that I played. Yeah.
How important has sports been for you? I'm glad you brought that up because some of our past guests we had on, it was Master P, we had Kristen Leahy and some other individuals that came, Rick Ross, and he came on and they was talking about sports and how they gained like the discipline through sports that helped them function seamlessly in life. How to be the first man on the bench or a starter, being a starter role or a supporting cast member or whatever the case. How has that helped you transition into real life? Because you've been in the sports world for so long, and obviously that's different than what we are now accustomed to in real life. It's totally different.
Yeah, I mean it's so kind of some of the things I just named. I mean, first of all, my journey through this sports world hasn't been Dwyane Wade, the future Hall of Famer.
Yeah,
I've played every role on the basketball team. I've played ass back, get your ass back. Right? I played cheerleader on the sideline, not getting no time. Like, and it's a conversation I have with my son. It's like, I didn't get here just because I woke up and got here.
Yeah.
I played every role. Hey, your job is to go in 94 feet, guard. That's it. Played that role. So for me, I learned how to play, and I learned how to be more than just a superstar, right? I learned how to be so versatile through the game of basketball that it helps me be versatile in my regular life. Because I don't know just one way. I know every way. So I'm able to adapt because I've always been able to adapt in my sport. And one of the biggest lessons I learned early on, and I talk about this in my documentary that's coming out, I talk about someone who's important to me is my assistant coach, Gary Adams in high school. And one thing he taught me about responsibility. He taught me about respecting other people's time. And the way he did that is when he came to me and asked me, did I want to be great? And I said yes. And he asked me what I would do to be great. And I said anything. He set out a path and said, these are the things that you need to do. And he started with, hey, I'll be at your house every morning at 8 o'clock. I will pick you up to take you to the gym in the summertime. I need you to sacrifice your summer with your friends to be in the gym with me. But I need you to be on time every time. If you late one time, I'm gonna hit that horn one time. If you ever late, I'm never coming back. So Wow. It taught me responsibility. It taught me about respecting other people's time. It taught me about sacrifice. Early on, I learned all these things that I needed when it got to this level or other levels, right? So all these things that basketball taught me, man, is what I use in life. It's life lessons.
Yeah. Ultimately, when you look back at the legacy of Dwyane Wade, and you obviously include your family because you take them with you, you've elevated all of them. What do you want to be remembered as and for?
Man, I think that's forever evolving. Yeah. I think when I was young, I had one answer, and I got a little older, I had another answer. I think for me, man, is when you grow up and they say the sky's the limit, I really believe that if you believe that you can accomplish anything, understand that it's not going to be easy, but understand that you can actually accomplish anything if you put your mind into it. So for me, man, I'm still growing. I'm still figuring out who I am and like where I want to be at the age of 37. So I don't know what my legacy is going to be at the end of the day. When it comes to my family, all I care about is that my family understands, you know, that they was loved, they were supported, and that I saw them, you know what I mean? And I did whatever I could to make sure that, you know, that they had wings to fly. Everything else, whatever I do, I hope I inspire people. You know, I hope I inspire a little kid right now in the inner city of Chicago to want to be greater. Hope I inspire them to want to be a businessman. Like, I do understand my position and my platform to inspire others, but ultimately my legacy for me is really lays in the hands of my family and how, you know, I can help them become the best at whatever it is they're going to do and be the best people and persons that they're going to be.
What is next? What do you want to venture off into next? I mean, you got
so
many things,
I need to ask you. Don't act like we're not going to sit here and act like I'm the only one that got a lot of things going on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sit down with my vet, have some wine. First time we sat down, we probably had some Kool-Aid.
It's the Kool-Aid.
This time we're going to have some wine.
Too much sugar.
Too much sugar. You had a straw last time we sat down. We're going to sit down with a cigar. And we're going to talk about it. Because for me, man, I'm always inspired by others that's doing great things as well. Like, I don't have all the answers. And there's so many people that, you know, that I look up to and that inspire me. So, you know what I mean? What's next is just continue to learn and continue to grow. You know what I mean? Like right now, man, like for me, I'm in therapy not because like I feel like I'm crazy. People think therapy means crazy.
Yeah.
Therapy is so many different things. So for me, I'm trying to learn myself. I'm trying to better myself. I'm in speech therapy. I'm trying to learn how to, you know, pronounce my words better. I'm trying to learn how to be, you know, a better public speaker. You know, all these things. Like, I'm trying to be the best version of Dwyane Wade that I can be. And I'm just about putting in the work. So all I know is I don't know what's next, but I know I'm going to put in the work.
I love that. This is my last thing for you, and I know that you touched on it. You said that you did not send in your retirement papers.
Oh, here you go. Here you go.
You did not send, one, why didn't you send in your retirement papers yet?
It's political.
Okay, so you haven't sent your retirement papers in yet. So, in my eyes, I think that the Lakers are in a great position to realistically win a championship.
I agree with you.
Okay. The one thing that they're missing is someone that can consistently do exactly what you bring. Off the bench, no ego involved, that can be consistent in that space, that can have that leadership, that can rally the second unit and bring them to the promised land. If by any chance, come February or March, and you feeling and looking how you looking, would you entertain the thought of coming back and playing here where you don't have to travel? You're already here in LA.
You're funny.
Would you play?
No. I'm done with that chapter. You know, listen, Jimmy Butler hits me all the time. Tell me, hey, come on back to Miami.
Number 2 in the East.
Hey, I talked to him the other day. He said, hey, we ready for you. But for me, man, and I appreciate that. And do I feel like I can still play in the game? Yeah, I feel like I can still. I feel like I can help a team if I put my mind to it. But once I decided to walk away, once I decided to retire, then that was it for me. So that chapter is closed for me. I'm moving on to this next side of my life.
Because somebody that really love you, like myself, convince you.
No, I like wine too much. I like to enjoy the other fruits of life too much. My lungs, I like cigars and, you know, so forth. So, no, man, y'all don't want to see that. No one wants to see that. You know, I feel like a lot of people think about that because guys like Jordan came back. And you see Jason Witten came back in football, which was crazy, came back in football. But for me, like, I thought about this long and hard.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I already had my leave Miami. I can't, you know what I mean? Like, I already had that. I went to Chicago for a year.
It was, you know what? And I compare that to this. Kobe had the 60, and he left. It was like, mic drop.
I'm out. Mamba out.
Mamba out. And to me, you created an experience fans, I don't think it'll ever happen again for anyone that perfectly. Like, so your experience with the Wade tour, the whole Last Dance thing, that was like Michael Jordan shot in Utah.
Man, listen. MJ, love him. It's my guy, favorite player. That was the ending.
That was the perfect ending.
That was the ending.
You don't touch that.
But obviously, he still had more love for the game that he wanted to give out. But man, that was the perfect. He had the perfect canvas and he painted it perfect. For me, in everybody's outest, man, I love to go out like Peyton Manning or MJ on that shot. Or everyone don't get that kind of ending.
Yeah.
But in my ending, perfect ending. I'm not about to go mess that up because because of 12 minutes a game somewhere that I'm not wanted. But let me walk in the locker room. I'm like, not this nigga with this ego.
Yeah, that's why I'm interested to see Coming to America 2.
It's my favorite movie, by the way.
I know. So why do a part 2?
Listen, I don't know why, but I'm cool with it because I'm gonna go watch it.
It better be just as funny and just as good.
Well, the thing is, that's so legendary of a movie. We cannot compare 2 to 1. That's a tough comparison, right? But I think we gotta love 2 for what 2 will be. And I think too many people get into this whole comparison thing, i.e. Michael Jordan versus LeBron James versus Magic Johnson versus all these great players. Respect them for what they do.
Yeah.
Love them for what they brought to you, the joy they brought to you. Stop comparing everybody. You know what I mean? Like, everybody is different. Everybody has brought something different to your life and to the game. Respect that. Let's stop comparing everything, even though it would never stop.
Yeah.
But I don't understand it.
I'm just happy to see Eddie back.
I'm happy to see Eddie back. Man, listen, let me tell you. One of my favorite, I don't really get into like this whole starstruck thing.
Yeah.
Like, since I met Denzel my rookie year, I was kind of cool after that.
Yeah.
But I got All-Star Weekend LA, the last one. Me, my wife, and Kevin Hart, his wife, was all gonna go to dinner together. Hey, let's catch up. Kevin calls and say, hey, you guys, man, if no, my wife called Kevin and said, hey, you mind if Chris Rock come to the dinner? Chris is a good friend. They said, yeah, Chris Rock come to dinner, cool. Bet. Get another call. Kevin, hey, you mind if Dave Chappelle come to dinner?
Oh, man.
Hell yeah. All right. Another call. Kevin, hey, you mind if Chris Tucker come to the dinner? I say, this is about to be epic. Hey, last call. You mind if Eddie Murphy come to dinner? I say, man, listen.
Hold up.
I didn't made it. It was an amazing dinner, man. And
I remember that picture they had, too, afterwards.
We took a picture.
Yeah.
Usher came to the dinner.
That's crazy.
It was special, but for me, I was in that room with some of the best comedians ever. And Eddie Murphy is the number one. Everything he says is funny. When he say hi, you laugh. He's the funniest human being in our time. And I got the opportunity to see him before he came back on the screen, man. And I was like, man, I hope Eddie come back and do his Eddie. And now he's back, dog, and I'm loving it. So that's my starstruck moment. And it happened about 35. I was 35 years
That
old.
would have happened to anybody.
Yeah.
Did any food get eaten at the dinner?
Oh, he ate everything. Now, I don't even remember who paid. Probably Eddie, because he got way more money than all of us. But I remember you sitting there, you're like, well, who gonna?
You're right. Anybody could.
But yeah, everything did, man. And like when I say literally, it was the funniest dinner I've ever been a part of, because everybody there is just funny in their own right. And any story they tell, but Eddie's stories is legendary, and his voices he able to do. You know what I mean? He's able to talk like so many different people that makes him just stand alone,
That's special, man.
Yeah.
Dang. Just like this. Like for me, this is special in numerous ways. Seeing you, this how you evolved, some of the discussions that we had in the past. And I know we don't talk every day, but whenever I text you or whenever I reach out to you, I feel like our energy and our momentum has never changed.
Never.
And I knew that immediately that we'd be friends long after basketball, just because you got it. You understood what it was all about, and I'm proud of you. I love the way that you handle the world, and I appreciate your friendship, brother.
Man,
Thanks for coming on, man.
Thank you, bro.
Yeah, appreciate
Tuff Juice Podcast, my guy.
Salute.